Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I really want to talk about content writing and stuff that you could do as a writer. And I think this is really important in terms of content generation. So I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And you often hear about things like, how do you actually do create a particular business online? People talk about this kind of stuff, particularly if you're a writer. Sometimes people struggle with this kind of stuff in terms of figuring out what they can do. But people don't really understand that they have a really good asset, a really good, valuable technique or skill that they have if they're a writer, particularly if they were trained, they went to university or college and they're trained in writing. And that is this gift of producing content and creating a particular audience with the thing that you're creating. So what I would suggest in terms of if you're any sort of writer, it doesn't matter who you are, maybe you are writing about blogs, or maybe you're writing about, comics, maybe you're a humor writer, maybe you like fiction, nonfiction, maybe you're an academic writer. But people have to sort of realize that there is a thing that you can do in terms of helping the stuff that you produce, in terms of actually building a business, in terms of building, an audience. Is what you have to do is you actually have to build an audience, and what you have to do is continuously produce a substantial amount of material over a very, very long time. And you have to build this material for years in terms of producing content and building a particular audience. And it doesn't require you to, you have to commit, and that's the hardest thing, is actually committing that you're going to do something. But once you do that, you can actually start, offering things to your particular audience. You can help your audience out with the needs and desires that they have. That's going to be very beneficial. So for me, with the academic thing that I'm doing, and I'm viewing this very much as an academic thing, I really want to use this as a way to actually help out researchers, to benefit academic writers, to help them out in any sort of way that I can, and as well as use this as a way to communicate and build an audience with, PhD students and things like that, where I can actually help them out. And in return, then I can actually do some really cool research and stuff in the background, where I can actually, possibly use this someday in terms of doing A/B testing. I talked about that in previous videos. But unless you actually produce this stuff, and unless you actually get out there and you start building an audience and just producing material over and over and over again, particularly if you're a writer, you could do a blog, for example. You could put out blog posts repeatedly for a long time, and you build that audience. Then you can ask them for help along the way, and you can help them. That's a key thing that you're trying to do, remember, is that you're trying to actually help them as much as you possibly can, and be open and honest and be very helpful. And then maybe every once in a while you can ask them for some advice or something like that. And what the cool thing is at that moment, and that's really what I'm trying to do, is build a particular audience, is that hopefully when you have thousands of people following along, and I don't have that at this moment, maybe it's hundreds. And it's really, and what's really nice is once you get thousands of people, once you have this particular audience, you can start helping them in many ways that you'd never be able to imagine, which is really, really cool. Helping connecting them to particular products, for example, if you're thinking of it of a monetary way, maybe connecting them to sort of other areas or some advice. Or, maybe for myself, because I'm sort of viewing this as an academic thing, maybe I can connect them to a paper that I've developed that they might be interested in, and, help to get the word out, a particular thing like that. So that's all I really wanted to point out, is that if you are a writer in any sort of way, this is part of my Monday Write series, is you can actually develop a really cool audience just by getting out there and doing it repeatedly, writing repeatedly, or doing something repeatedly for a very, very long time. Make sure it's scalable, obviously. So that's why I'm doing these YouTube videos. And then hopefully I'm trying to get it transcribed in the long run into blog posts so I can actually start building an audience. It's a really slow process for me. But yeah, it's, and what I'm trying to do is build an audience such that I can be as helpful as possible in the long run. And then, once in a while, they can help me out with different things and stuff like that, which is not quite possible unless you actually have this audience and unless you actually start. And, the audience doesn't have to be that big. It could be, if you have 100 people that are paying attention to what you're doing, that's really cool and that's really valuable. And that's going to be helpful for a lot of people out there. So that's all I wanted to point out is just the value of the asset that you have, particularly if you're a writer in any sort of way, and that you can use that to your advantage. And once you use that to your advantage, you just got to keep doing that and leveraging it and leveraging it. And it might take you 10 years, but you know what? What else are you going to do on your evenings and weekends? And that, it's kind of actually really cool to be able to do this and to sort of help out in one way or another. And that's really what you have to sort of think about along the way. So again, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and as well subscribe. Do appreciate it. And that's all I'm going to say. Have a wonderful day and take care. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.